I tell you, at the end of this chapter, I couldn't help but feel like I just got kicked in the balls, you know? It just ends on a series of down notes.
One Piece, chapter 349, Ordinary Citizens.
Did you just say shit?
Just depressing, man. Talk about getting punched in the balls. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and fire-ridden and kind of depressing in some chapters tale of One Piece. Our last chapter saw us with, of course, again, just, you know, really kind of expanding upon a little bit with the 6 powers and just really seeing Robin, of course, was leaving, exiting stage left, so to speak. And, you know, the house is about to burn down. And of course, Luffy and Zoro have been handily defeated. It looks like anything they've thrown at any of the, you know, the CP9 agents has been, you know, just handily taken out, and they've been taken out very quickly, and with really very little effort too, which is very frustrating because you want to see somewhat of an even match, somewhat of hope or a glimmer of hope or a chance. The chapter though did end with Rob Lucci going and seemingly turning into or summoning some kind of beast, you know, that he wanted to show them, right? So anyway, that's where the chapter leaves off. The chapter picks up actually some of the you know, some of the dock workers, some of the shipwrights, I guess, that have been knocked out by Zoro, are getting up and kind of coming to, and the house is on fire, the mansion's on fire, and they're going to go and rush up to the 3rd floor to try to get to them. You know, to save Mr. Iceberg, right? And they don't know who's up there, what's going on, the double crossing and the other stuff. But then we go and we actually, a couple pages in, get to see Lucci and see what he is. And the dude, he turns into this giant hulking beast of a leopard, right? So apparently he has one of those Zoan type fruits, devil fruits. And I guess from what Chopper was saying, that like in carnivorous type animals, ferocious type animals that are real aggressive, like a leopard would be, their Zoan devil fruits make them even more powerful, you know. And then he explains, Rob Lucci explains, because of course even bad guys have to explain what their powers do, that that with training your body and everything like that, you can become even more powerful. So he's next level, you know. He's CP9's cool, but he's next level, you know, because of, and we assume is maybe the leader of this group, this ragtag group of government officials, or whatever you want to call them, government spies, backstabbers, whatever. And anyway, we wind up seeing, so as that's happening, and they're talking about how they can hear some of the shipwrights coming, he goes and does it, and he's huge. I mean, when he turns into it, he is a hulking beast. I thought that it looked cool when Chopper kind of hulked up or whatever, but this dude looks like he's like 12 feet, 15 feet tall, you know? Anyway, he does one of his 6 powers moves, Tempest Kick, and winds up collapsing in the door and a part of the ceiling or whatever, which, you know, keeps anybody from being able to get to them. But in the meantime, it looks like Chopper gets buried. He goes and nails, you know, hits Nami and knocks her out of the way, knocks her right in the ass, you know. Actually, you can think whatever you want about that, but he gets her right in the ass and knocks her out of the way. And if, you know, she's, oof, I'm hurt. But at the same time, she's saved now because it looks like the whole ceiling fell in on Chopper. So then we go and we get Paulie, who can, he's got one of those, he's already taken a finger pistol and gotten the shit kicked out of him by a couple of these guys, and by Lucci and Kaku. And he goes and picks up Iceberg, you know, he's got him over his shoulder type of thing, got his arm around him, and he's like, oh, I'm going to get you to safety, I can do it, and this and that. And these guys are still all standing around. They haven't left yet, you know. And Lucci is still a giant freaking leopard, right? So he goes to do that, and he tells Lucci, and Lucci's like, "What are you doing?" You know, and he's like, "You know, I'd like to believe that even in spite of everything that's gone on, I'd still like to believe that, you know, somewhere deep down that like we're comrades, you know, like you wouldn't do this to me, right?" And he's just like, "Sorry, buddy, the feeling is not mutual." And he pulls his hand up, and it kind of turns into a claw, you know, and he's about to nail him. And then Luffy goes and just whack, just blindsides him with a punch, with a pistol punch or whatever, you know. And the first time I've actually gotten to see one of these idiots take a hit, you know. And unfortunately, though, the glee and the joy of that is short-lived, because then Lucci goes, and if he's not already big and ferocious enough as a fucking leopard, right, he's got to go and use one of his 6 powers moves as a leopard, so now his finger is a claw, and it's 5 times the size that it was before. And he goes and he's finger pistol, and I mean, just gets Luffy, and it appears that he gets him. I mean, it looks like it's right through the heart. Clearly, he doesn't hit his heart. He must wind up, you know, missing and going through and hitting somewhere in the abdomen or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV. And that's not even true. But my point is that he winds up just putting Luffy out, and then he goes just like, you know what, bye. And I mean, he just fucking throws him. He's like literally gonna throw him off the island and tosses Luffy out, right? Zoro hadn't taken that shit, so Zoro's gonna go and come at him, you know. And Zoro would have gotten the drop on him, but oh, of course, your 6 powers and cheap ass move, iron body, I can't be hurt. So he pulls that bullshit, which you could see coming from a mile away, and is already getting to be a super, super old, redundant plot device. But, you know, as far as, well, not plot device, but I guess action plot sequence device, you know what I mean? So, hey, you know, I'm strong enough that I could take a hit, you know, from this swordsman, but instead I'll just say iron body, and I'm good to go. You know, I can get shot with a fucking cannon. It doesn't matter, right? Anyways, I just get a little frustrated again because just not really seeing much traction at all for, you know, for the Straw Hats here. And things are pretty disparate right now. Definitely not very good. But so he winds up going and doing the same thing, winds up jacking up Zoro and then saying, you can join him, you know, and whips him out into the water. Now, Zoro goes flying out, you see, into and out off of Water 7 into the water. So we can assume that that's where Luffy went too, and now they're pretty much screwed, right? And they're foobarred, fucked up beyond all recognition. They're out in the sea. Luffy can't swim, has gotten a finger pistol, you know, and is spewing blood from the front and back. This guy's he's gotten so many holes in him since the beginning of this series. It is unbelievable. But anyway, so they're screwed. They're out there. Then we wind up kind of going back to the outside of the mansion, and of course nobody can actually get up there, but they're like, oh, well, there's 3 of the foremen up there, you know, there's Paulie, and there's Lucci, and there's Kaku, so they would, you know, I'm sure that one of those brave people will save Iceberg, right? Anyway, you wind up going and seeing that all of a sudden comes flying out or dropping out of the window is Nami, right? And Nami looks like she's laid out. She's not looking good at all, and honestly, it was a big departure for me because Nami and Robin, for the most part, have not being the main female characters, have not really gotten beaten up a whole lot. I mean, they've gotten into some scraps here and there, but I mean, this doesn't look good, man. I mean, she's bloody and just got tossed out a window, right? So anyway, they're oh, we're going to arrest her and question her and this and that. She's got to know what's going on. But then they're going to take us back into the 3rd floor. Chopper, we presume, is still buried underneath the rubble. And that's the only way I can see these guys possibly getting out of this. Because then we got Iceberg and Paulie tied up back to back, sitting in the midst of the flames, right? And then as we go and everything ends, we get this, you know, this kind of stoic pose of the shadows of these 4 CP9 agents. But no ordinary citizen can defy the will of the world government. Let's go. We have to recover the blueprints from Tom's other disciple, Frankie. No, Cutty Flam. And actually, I really like these pictures that are drawn like this, where it's a lot of shadows, and it's actually using the absence of light by drawing an outline or a shadow, a silhouette of a character. And it's really neat to see when it's done right. And this is the way that it's done right. This is how you would do it. How you would do something like that, because you have your really cool, your flame, your light source that's in front of them, so naturally everything behind them, if you don't have a light source back there, would be masked in shadow anyway. So it's just kind of cool and imposing, the actual look of the characters and how everything is drawn and depicted there. And I have to say that, you know, now, I mean, again, being I don't know, probably about 7 years, about halfway through, you know, the series almost. Oda's drawing, his artistic skill has markedly improved, you know, with each and every passing chapter. And I mean, and as an artist myself, you know, you can notice these little things, just some of the fine lines, some of the detail, just some of the things that people would take for granted, or that you would see other artists just kind of be real sloppy with because it's not necessary to have that much detail. Oda very much seems like that guy that goes next level, perfectionist, that type of thing. So definitely hats off to him for the beautiful artwork that's depicted, at least that I can see. I really like. So my chapter question for you, though, because that's how things end off, brothers and sisters, my chapter question for you is, how do you feel at this point in the story? Honestly, how do you feel? Man, I feel like I just got, personally me, I just feel like I just got a finger pistol to the gut, you know? I mean, you know, Robin, seemingly bad or evil or whatever you want to call her, with CP9, not with the Straw Hats, right? You know, Usopp, gone from the crew, but presumably captured by Frankie. Sanji's off doing something somewhere, hitting on somebody, right? And then, of course, you know, Luffy and Zoro being tossed out to sea, and Luffy can't swim, you know. Nami just dropped out the window over there. Chopper buried under rubble. I mean, this is not looking good. This is a punch to the gut if I have ever got one. So let me know, though, what your thoughts are on just kind of the feeling right now as we stand in the story. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
I'd really appreciate it if you'd follow me over on the Twitter and the Facebook and the Instagram and maybe even my other channel.